Halo, it's a game that likely needs no introduction, and with Infinite just around the corner, I wanted to take a trip down memory lane and explore what made the original such a magical experience that 20 plus years later, we still fondly remember. This isn't like a review or anything, I'm just gonna go through the campaign and take you on a journey with me, so stick around. So it has been a while since I played this gem of a game, so let's start it on Heroic. Alright, looking good. It's a bit off. Oh, shit. Right, let me fix that. So this is just good old Halo. Without over-explaining it, this level is fan-fucking-tastic. It's a fine intro for people who don't know how to use one of these. So fast-forwarding a bit, I get to the bridge and meet Captain Keyes. He gives me the Destroyer of Worlds and tasks me to get off the ship with its AI, Cortana. And back in the day, from the very beginning, you could kind of tell this game was going to be special. Each Covenant have their own distinctive behavior, making each fight feel satisfying and non-too repetitious. Not hard to see why this game was ahead of its time. And after a bukkake of bullets, I have to go through a service tunnel, and man, this game exceeds in atmosphere.
I see one. Keep your head down, Mr.
I make it just in time to the escape pods, and we eject to the surface to the ring world, Halo.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.
And our journey begins. Narrowly escaping an alien threat was exhilarating, and now I have this whole new world to explore. Cortana and I try to regroup with any survivors. We meet up with Johnson, one of my Marine buddies, and he explains the situation from his perspective.
We're scattered all over this valley. We called for evac button until you showed up. I thought we were cooked.
Don't worry, Sergeant. Here until evac arrives.
Over here!
Okay, so the audio was kind of weird, but no matter. More bad guys to shoot. This is where I begin to experience my first few deaths in the game. Meet Red Bitch. He keeps killing me. But soon he realizes he's no match for me. After desecrating the corpse, I move up to fight more Covenant, only to die. After the fighting ends, Foehammer, my new best friend in the whole wide world, drops me off a warthog for ease of traveling. And we're off, and god damn that music slaps.
Cave is not a natural formation.
We head down to a cave, and for some god-awful reason, I had the instincts to turn on anniversary graphics, and I walk up to this beacon. Oh, wait. I remember. Moving on. We leave the cave and the game begins to open up. My only task is to save any Marines I can, and I'm able to do this in any order I wish. I find my first group stranded on a mountain and make quick work of the attackers, but soon more enemy reinforcements arrive. My ammo's beginning to run out, so I decide it's time to use their weapons against them. And holy shit, I forgot classic Halo weapons have a lot of killing power. So I saved these dudes, and now we're off to save some more dudes. I picked up a sniper, which turned the rest of the level into a picnic. And with that, the level ends, and we're off to try to rescue Captain Keyes. This mission kicks ass. We have to board this ship, and we have the element of surprise and banger tunes on our side.
Hey, we did it! Right behind you, Chief!
Seriously, the music in this game is no joke. We worked our way to the entrance of the ship and fought off waves of the Covenant, and experienced a few bugs. Huh. Eventually they get tired of my shit and send in the big boys. Hunters. My team and I dispatch them as quick as we can, then touch base on the ship. It seems we're on the right track, and then suddenly we're ambushed. One by one, my team begins to fall. But then I pick up Camo and become Stealth himself. It seems they've once again had enough of my bullshit and send in the big boys again. I make my way through the ship trying to find my keys, again accompanied with some great music. One of my buddies actually suggested I make a video about Halo's music since I make music myself. And honestly, I pale in comparison to this music. I can't even do it justice. The triumphant melodies, the foreboding atmosphere is enough to send shivers down to my... So Fellhammer sends me more reinforcements, but I accidentally jumped off the top walkway and was delayed in meeting with them. When I got up there weren't any Marines from what I saw. I did create this cool chain explosion, which I thought was the last of the encounters for a bit, but then I was flanked on both sides. It felt like I could die at any moment and would have to go back to the checkpoint. But then, I was saved by a wandering Marine. I named him Francis. Francis quickly dies off screen, and I'm big sad. But I do save Keys. We begin to make our way to the hangar to find a way off this ship. We're ambushed by sword-wielding camouflaged elites, and Keys dies. Okay, no big deal, reset checkpoint. Oh, he dies again. So I can't lie to you, this kind of happened a lot. Dude. These checkpoints actually blow. Eventually we move past it. Oh shit, I fucking died. Well, that was excruciating, but at least the music's still pumping and we're almost off the ship. We eventually get to the hangar and, well, get out of there. Not before Keys gets some revenge.
Hang on. Nice one, sir. Time for a little payback.
Which concludes this more or less awesome mission. This is arguably one of the most memorable levels in the game. If you were a kid at the time of release, you talked about this level like it was your beaches of Normandy. Without question, the beginning of the level is very strong. Great music, pushing up on the beach, killing coveys, it invokes so much joy. The level is simple. I have to make my way to the silent cartographer and extract some coordinates to Halo's control room, or something like that. Speeding through with the Warthog, the Marines and I made it to our destination, only to be met with the door shutting in our face. Which means I have to make it to another facility to unlock this door, which kind of makes sense, I guess. Our path is marked with more Covenant, and I have an idea dumb enough to work.
Over here! Keep it up!
That's what I love about Halo. This game is open enough to do this on-the-fly decision-making, and sometimes it just works. I make it to another facility, and I'm met with big boys once again. I'm thinking to myself at this point, I have to keep moving, so I'm just going to slip by. One of them caught on, though, and followed suit. So now I'm trapped in this narrow hallway with him. I think to myself, I have to close the distance or else he'll shoot, and then I'm dead. That's when I learned something special. Hunters are pretty dumb. I mean, I just circled around him and tapped him until he died. Well, with him gone, I can move on to opening the door.
Good. That should open the door that leads into the...
And now I have to head back to the facility. But first, I need to take a detour. I make my way to a downed Pelican for some heavy equipment. Arriving at the facility, I had another idea. I need to get my Warthog in there. Okay, so it didn't work. So unfortunately, I'm on my own. At this point, I had a weird memory. I remember some vague method of a speedrun I watched, so I attempted it. I make my way to the map and download it. Now it's only a matter of getting topside to escape. Feeling confident, I tried another boomer shooter strat, the rocket jump, and failed. I won't lie to you, escaping is much harder than I thought. I mentioned earlier that this game will allow for on-the-fly decision-making. Well, those skills are kind of required here, and it's tested here as well. It's very likely that you'll run out of rockets and pistol ammo, and you'll have to pick up weapons along the way. I quickly find a plasma pistol and lob grenades everywhere. No real strategy here, just hoping to confuse them and slip by. Even though I know I look like a lumbering idiot, I feel like a badass super soldier with a pinch of luck. Don't let the editing fool you, by the way, I did die a lot. Long story short, I regrouped with my Warthog and the Marines, and lucky for that too, because the Gold Elite was there to cut my ass down. I couldn't get the Warthog unstuck, so I decided to just leave, and that's that. Mission accomplished.
Deep tunnels, which circle the whole ring. I hope your analysis is also funny.
Alright, so the next level starts us underground, which just adds to the mystery of this world. It's also a great tool for the game designers to switch up the scenery if they like, but we can't dawdle on that for too long. We're quickly met with more Covenant forces, and you should know the drill by now, move and shoot. The layout of this level is pretty simple, and to be honest, a little cut and paste. But the enemies you fight do enough to distract from that. By now you should know how I play the game. I waste no time, only killing what I need to, and then moving on. We're now knee-deep in the ring world's architecture, and likewise deep behind enemy lines. The game also gives us a nice change of pace, a stealth section. Honestly, it's not Metal Gear or Thief good, but it is effective, and you don't even have to be all that quiet. You can go in guns a-blazing if you want, but I'm not a punk, so I sneak as far as I can, donkey punching all the sleeping grunts into a permanent slumber. I make my way through and head outside. Huh. Snow. Well, like I said, they can change the set pieces if they want. You are at the mercy of Bungie, and you just have to live with that. The whole goal of this level is to get to the control room, and I aim to do just that. Ooh, a tank. A few Marine buddies join me on my tank, and we head through the cave system, making short work of the forces there. Eventually, I meet up with more Marine forces, and we sadly are forced to abandon the tank. But that doesn't matter. Me and my buddies rush the entrance, overwhelming the Covenant forces. I head topside, pushing the rest of the way alone. I make it outside to a double bridge and decide I'm crazy enough to do another speedrun strat, a grenade jump. I do fail a few times, but I'm determined to get it, and eventually I do. I push through and make it to the bottom of the control room. Now I begin my ascent. I grab a ghost and splatter my way through most of the forces. Here's where the real challenge of the game begins. So I got stuck here. Actually, it's quite sad and frustrating to think about. I just don't know how else to explain it other than this is the ugly side of Halo. The checkpoint system, man. It's the fucking worst. Going through the same fight over and over and over and over again. I would deal with the hunters outside first, then flip the turret over where I need it to be, then open the door, lob as many grenades as I can, and shoot the rest. Eventually it worked, but oh my god, it was excruciating. And like I said, I made it in and linked Cortana to the control room, and she was astounded with what she found. But trouble rises soon enough, and she quickly sends me off to go find keys.
Before it's too late.
Alright, my favorite level. It's also a spooky one, so I'm gonna get in the mood for this one. I mentioned the atmosphere of this game before, but it's on full display here. The feeling is off. The Covenant are running away. It's not their typical behavior either. They're doing their cowering animation, which is usually triggered when I kill a large number of them, or the elites. I make my way to the last known position, along the way picking off unsuspecting enemies. Like I mentioned before, the vibe here is vastly different. The lighting is sparse, and the silence is deafening. I make my way to an elevator, wondering what awaits me below. I mostly see an empty room. Making my way forward, I see some Covenant huddled together on high alert. It seems I spooked them. It also feels like they were waiting for something else other than me. And it also feels like they don't necessarily want to fight me. And that feeling is all but confirmed when I come across two jackals that are peering on into a room in horror. Quickly, I take them out and circle to a point of interest. There's green liquid dripping from the sky. I make my way back to the door, understanding why they were looking on in horror. So much blood. I make my way forward, eventually stumbling across a room in disarray. I see a friend. Finally, I think.
Stay back!
Wait.
Back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me!
He thinks I'm not friendly, or out to get him.
Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first!
Like it or not, I know I can't help him. So I press on. I keep hearing these things, and it's starting to get to me, and it's even starting to get to Master Chief. I open the door, and a dead Marine falls to my feet. Quickly coming in, we get to that cutscene.
Stuff, Sarge. Watch your mouth, son. Your stuff is your history. It should remind you grunts what we're fighting to protect. Hold still! Hold still! Let him have it!
Alright, so I can't keep up the act anymore. So basically, it's summarizing what happened to Key's fire team. They were basically ambushed by the unimaginable horror known as the Flood, and I'm stuck in the room where they disappeared. Soon after, the new enemy type makes itself very known. And this is a wonderful introduction to what's basically space zombies. And I can appreciate the genius of the design here. Bungie made it so that the baby parasites would show up first, easing you into the onslaught, but soon after, the bigger guys show up to ruin your day. Not wanting to stick around, I hightail it out of there, and we can see the Covenant interacting with the Flood, mostly running in horror. I do the same. To be honest, the Flood is a good enemy in this level. They break up the pace of the fighting, and are best when they have other enemies to fight against, which is what this level focuses on, and it gives me a shotgun, which is perfect for knocking them down and keeping pace. I have but one goal in mind, to get the hell out of here. I get bitch slapped into some glass, which is actually pretty cool considering this game came out in 2001. I eventually hit an elevator and get topside and meet up with some friendly Marines. We collectively decide to get the hell out of there and call Fohammer for evac. And I'll be honest, scared shitless, I push forward without the Marines, leaving them back as sacrifices. Eventually I run into this round bastard. His name is 343 Guilty Spark, and he essentially teleports me or kidnaps me depending on how you want to look at it. And technically mission complete? Alright, the internet's least favorite level. To be honest with you, I was always the type of person to try to defend this level. I mean, I beat it as a kid on Legendary, and a few other times throughout my life. Surely it isn't that bad. Well, I don't want to waste your time. I hold the speedrun world record for quitting this level. I died a handful of times at the beginning of the area and called it quits. Remember how I said in the previous level the Flood were done well? Well, here they're kind of crap. The whole goal of this level is just to get to the index, and it's this huge climb of repeating rooms and just fighting the Flood, which, after a while, especially on their own, they just aren't fun, especially when you give them rocket launchers. Don't get me wrong, it's possible, it's just the lowest point in Halo 1, and I'm not here for it. So let's just pretend that John Halo pulled an index out of his ass or something. Next level. This next level starts off wonderful. The intro cutscene is a great example of character interaction. Cortana has been getting a swole brain and learned Halo is actually a weapon designed to kill the Flood's food, i.e. every living thing. She calls the Monitor a pejorative and a fight ensues. After the fight, Cortana comes up with a plan to use the Pillar of Autumn to blow up the ring. But first, we have to delay the Monitor from whatever he's doing by destroying some generators. This level is actually pretty simple. It's the same exact level as Assault on the Control Room, but reversed. And I can't lie to you, it feels good fighting Covenant again, and it's starting to win me back from the annoyance I felt from the previous level. I won't lie to you, it is a bit repetitive going from generator to generator, but it isn't bad. And they do change it up with me fighting Sentinels, Flood, and Covenant. It's arguably peak Halo. I suppose the WoW factor's just kind of wearing off. I blow up each generator, wasting no time in between.
Final target neutralized. Let's get out.
It's a rather short level, capping off nicely with Cortana learning teleportation to get me to the next level. Alright, one more detour before blowing up the Autumn. We gotta find our Keyes. Good news, Keyes is alive. Bad news, he's aboard the ship overrun with Flood and Covenant.
Oh, I see. The coordinate data needs to be... Right. Sorry.
I love this game, it's so charming. It seems Keyes has access to comms. Okay, so that means we gotta move quickly then. Unfortunately, the ship is ripped to hell, which means it's time to take a plunge outside of the ship.
Hole was caused by some kind of explosive.
This level is very hectic. The Covenant and Flood are at an all-out war, but lucky for me, I can sneak by in the chaos. Mostly. Sometime later, I make it to my destination and get back to the ship, where Keyes is being held. The Flood don't seem to be all that mindless here. Cortana notes that they're stockpiling bodies in the corners. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I keep pushing forward, ripping through Covenant and Flood alike with the shotgun. Cortana urges me to hurry up since the captain isn't exactly having a good time.
The captain! His vitals are fading! Please, Chief, hurry!
I end up where I'm supposed to be. I think. But I just see a green mass of flesh.
The captain? He's one of them! We can't let the Flood get off this ring. You know what he'd expect. What he'd want us to do.
Well, that's tragic, but I know what I gotta do now. I have to get back to the Autumn, blow it and Halo up. I pull off one last speedrun strat, and I'm out of there. Landing on the Autumn in style, I'm here for one thing and one thing alone, to blow up Halo. I rush through making short work of all standing in my way, thanks to the shotgun. I witnessed a jig. Moving on. Killing my way through the Autumn, I remembered how far I've come. Eventually, I find myself at the bridge. Cortana and I are ready to set this place off like a firecracker. Then that glorified marble dickhead stopped our fun. He shuts down the engine room and is torrenting all of the human data he can, but the chief has a different plan. Now we make our way to engineering.
We're here.
I have to reach these terminals and open up the vents, then throw a grenade in there to blow it to high hell, and repeat this about 4 times, while getting zapped and shot at. Once that's done, it's time to get the hell out of here. I head up to the vehicle bay for a quicker escape method. Then I floor it. I drive through the Autumn at a blistering pace. We have to meet up with Foehammer for an evac, dodging Flood and Covenant alike. Soon after, I arrive at the evac zone. Now I just gotta...
Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. I'm hit. Mayday. Mayday. What the hell? I can't hold her. I can't hold her.
Echo 419! She's gone.
I can't lie to you. I did kind of tear up at that part. I mean, she's been there since the beginning, like Keyes, but we can't dawdle on that for too long. We have to keep moving. There's one last shot. A longsword is docked and ready for me to take. So I gun it to the docking bay.
Cutting it close.
Here we go.
We narrowly escaped. And it turns out we're the only survivors left from this mission. We drift off into space, and Chief sums up the rest of the history quite nicely.
Halo. It's finished.
No, I think we're just getting started.
It was a blast going through the campaign again. I say overall it aged pretty damn well. I'd also like to thank you very much for sticking around with me. I do have a quick update if you care. It's been fun getting back into video editing, and thank you again for watching. I'm gonna go on a small break, hopefully until January or at most February. I'm finishing up my semester and hopefully going into my last year, and I have to focus on that, but don't worry. Just like the chief said, I think we're just getting started.